Oh, thanks everyone.
Yeah. Good to see you, man.
Cheers.
All right. Okay, Mike, please.
That man spent time at Auckland Airport, I think. Blue lines. I'm representing 102 members of the Akaroa Bowling Club. Our club's been in existence for almost 120 years, and if not all, certainly most of that time it's spent at its current site in Rugeley in Akaroa. We're not here, as most other submitters are, to ask for money to be spent in certain ways today, but we're here to support what we hope is your decision not to fund a particular project. Our submission relates to Banks Peninsula Parks Heritage Management funding, and in particular a dilapidated weatherboard shack on land immediately adjacent to the east of the bowling club, known variously as U Cottage or Jenny's Cottage. A quick but important history. In 1981, the cottage was placed on the open market for sale. The bowling club was concerned that shading from any potential new build on that land would compromise the grass bowling green, particularly if it were multi-storied. Incidentally, that position has never changed. Indeed, today, and despite the fact that we now have an artificial service, we're experiencing a problem with moss, particularly in the area shaded by the cottage and the trees around it. So in 1981, negotiation and agreement with the Akaroa County Council resulted in the council buying the property specifically, and I quote from documentation at the time, to prevent the erection of a high-rise building on the site which would detrimentally affect the future of the club's playing surface due to shading, and more importantly for us, to enable improvements and future development of the club's facilities. The council paid $27,000 for the property. The Akaroa Bowling Club's contribution to the deal was to transfer the freehold title of its land and buildings to the council. The club then leased the property back, but with the provision in that lease that after a period of 10 years, the club could further lease the land on which the cottage stood. Part of that land was subsequently added to the area the bowling club now leases, that's our car park, but the smaller portion on which the cottage actually sits remains in council control. Now this is a big deal. The club gave away its property for two reasons. One, to stop a new build next door, and two, to enable improvements and future developments for the club facilities. Now, between 2013 and 2015, the cottage was deemed by this council to be a notable heritage building, and at various times the council has stated its intention to refurbish it and make it suitable for residential purposes. That has not happened, and it clearly is not about to happen anytime soon. The draft LTP provides a little over $58,000 this year for conservation works. That, we understand, will be entirely expended on vegetation control, and even that we suggest is not a great spend. Nothing is budgeted beyond this year, and we applaud the council has wound back a budgeted sum last year of several $100,000 to refurbish this derelict building, a building left unoccupied and pretty much entirely to nature's mercy, including several episodes of flooding for more than 12 years, and it's now a mess. In our view, every cent of public money spent should produce a tangible benefit for the community, or at least a worthy section of it. A spend of several $100,000, if that would ever occur, would essentially provide accommodation for one small family. It's not an acceptable use of public money when the peninsula has so many other projects in dire need of funding. If a possible justification is that the general public would feel a warm and fuzzy feeling when walking by a so-called notable heritage building, then I remind you that beautiful Akaroa has scores of similar places. One more, and particularly this one, is not relevant. The purchase of U Cottage in 1981 was intended to enable improvements and future development of the club's facilities. It's time for this council to concede that spending further money on the cottage is neither justified nor appropriate, and we ask that you commence negotiation with the Akaroa Bowling Club Incorporated to plot a path forward now towards honouring that 1981 agreement and making that additional land available for the bowling club.
That is music to my ears. What are you smiling for, Tyrone? Tyrone and I have been singing the same song for ages.
Good.
This has gone on long enough, so we'll see what we can certainly do, because it's the bottom three, I've looked through the window. The bottom 300 mil has got black mould in it. That it's a health hazard. It doesn't need to be there. It's not.
Well, I'm pleased you've had a look at it, Phil. I wonder if the rest of the group have, because it's certainly worth looking at. And if you came and had a look at it, you'd have no difficulty in making a decision on this.
Absolutely. And
Now, frankly, the bowling club's prepared to help this,
Yeah.
and that's why I think if we can sit down and come to some sort of conclusion as a group, we can get cracking on this and tidy it up.
Tyrone and I got a cunning plan, haven't we, Tyrone? And the other thing is luck would have it, I saw some boundary pegs the other day. It's actually built on a legal road as well, which doesn't help the situation. So
It should be gone. It's a mess, and if it's left too much longer, it's going to fall down anyway.
you're preaching to the converted. Tyrone, you've got a question?
Oh, no, I think all this needs to be said has been said. I just wanted to thank Mike for noting that $500,000 had been removed from the capital program in the draft LTP, because we often get accused of adding money to the LTP, but this was taking it away.
Because the plan. I've got the talking stick. The plan was to actually raise it up 1.5 metres. And that's where the 400 grand come from.
That's going to help our shading problem, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we'll do it. We'll have a look.
Will we?
Thank you, mate.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's get cracking.
Yep. Annalise, please.